I'm pretty sure not many of you in San Diego have ever heard of the Trans-Pacific Partnership Free Trade Agreement until this week. Has it been a secret? Some members of Congress think so. The 13th in a series of trade negotiations is going on right now at the Bayfront Hilton in San Diego amid protests from labor and the Occupy movement. To shed some light on what the negotiators and protesters want is Carol Guthrie, Assistant U.S. Trade Representative, and Celeste Drake, a policy expert with the AFL-CIO. Thank you both for joining me here today. And Carol, I have the first question for you. Can you briefly tell us what these negotiations are and how they came about?
Absolutely. In the Trans-Pacific Partnership, the U.S. is working with currently 8 other countries in the Asia-Pacific area to create a new trade agreement that will ultimately give the United States and our exporters more access to the really dynamic and growing markets of the Asia-Pacific, so we can follow the president's dictum to make more here, sell more there, and support more jobs here in the United States. And we are very glad to be here in San Diego this week and glad to have had folks from the labor movement, from Occupy, not only outside the hotel but inside the hotel for our stakeholder engagement this week so that we can talk a little more about what's going on so more people can learn about the Trans-Pacific Partnership.
Yeah, it sounds a little mysterious. And when you say trade, you know, big trade, you think of NAFTA, you think of these big trade agreements. It kind of scares a lot of people. So my question for you, Celeste, would be, are there protections for the U.S., as far as you know, going on during these negotiations for labor?
We know that the U.S. government has proposed some protections for workers, some protections for the environment. Part of the problem with this particular agreement is that with 9 nations, it's not just the U.S. and one other country trying to work it out, but it could be countries that have very serious concerns about having high labor standards like Vietnam, Malaysia, Brunei, fighting back and not accepting the U.S. proposal. And these really matter because if there are not labor protections for workers in these countries, it's not just low wages that lure factories offshore, but it's the fact that workers are repressed, can't form a union, can't bargain, things like that.
Is that what a lot of the protesters are out there for right now?
They're talking about jobs. They're talking about human rights and labor rights. They're talking about environmental protections. They're talking about trade rules that will work for working people and not just for the multinational corporations.
So it's not a blanket, no, we don't want this. It's more of a trying to find out the details of it. And that brings me back to you, Carol. Why is it important to improve Pacific Rim relationships? Why is this needed? Because it seems like, you know, we trade with Japan and China, and why is this needed?
We do trade with Japan and with China and with other nations in the Asia-Pacific, but we can trade more and we can trade better. One of the things President Obama said when he first came into office was that we needed to do trade policy differently. For a long time, there were a lot of people who were shut out of the trade conversation in the United States. And we came in saying that we wanted trade policy that was more responsible and more responsive to Americans' concerns. And that's why we're really excited about the Trans-Pacific Partnership, because we've said this needs to be a high-standard 21st century agreement that tackles old problems in new ways and tackles problems that haven't been tackled before in trade agreements. And that's why we're insisting on high standards on labor and on the environment. And there is no country in the Trans-Pacific Partnership that will be allowed to have a lower set of commitments on labor, on the environment, on any other issue. Everybody has to meet the high standards. That's what we're insisting on, and that's what all the partners have committed to do. We've made clear that we will not support an outcome in this negotiation that doesn't put the rights of workers on the same footing as commercial interests.
Well, I want to ask, we don't have a whole lot of time, but I want to ask each of you this, and first I'll start with you, Celeste. The North American Free Trade Agreement, that's when people talk about these trade agreements, that's what comes to mind. How do you view it? Do you view it as a success or a failure?
It's a failure. It's a failure for American workers. It's a failure for workers in Mexico and Canada. America's lost 700,000 jobs due to NAFTA, and our working partners in Mexico report more union repression, wage stagnation, peasants pushed off the land due to cheap U.S. agricultural imports. They view it as bad, and TPP is our chance to fix it, and if we don't fix it, it will be NAFTA 2, the revenge.
So it might help, and that's one side of it. Of course, Carol, what's your take on it?
Well, there's really good news for people who have these concerns because recently Canada and Mexico have both been invited to join the Trans-Pacific Partnership. And we feel that this is an opportunity to act on President Obama's promise to build on what was in NAFTA and make things work better for American workers and for everyone involved. So we're excited about the opportunities to make improvements and to really address some concerns that we've been hearing for a long time.
All right. Carol Guthrie, Celeste Drake, thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome.
Thanks.